Hello ladies, this is Venetia from Scrapworks. Thank you very much for joining us for a Christmas in July event today. This is the mini album we'll be making. This has a 1 centimeter gusset on either side of the album, and I've just done the back of the album, covered the back of the album using some pattern paper from our Remember Me collection, and I've just done some inking techniques on that. Okay. The front cover is just basically some layering with a little piece that goes over as the closure. It opens up like this and like this. The pages have been created in a cascading effect. You'll see later when we go through the instructions. So on the first page there's a little envelope. I see I forgot to embellish. I'll do that. I'll go back and embellish that. And it's a little tuck spot, so I'll probably put a little something inside there later. The envelope turns over to pull on the first page to open it up like that. The background pages that you'll see, most of the background pages in this album are leftovers from projects where I've tried out different inking techniques or tried to see color combinations and things. I've kept all of that, and it's actually come in very handy for this album. All the goodies in this album are scraps from various projects, leftover stuff from various projects. So dig in through your stuff and see what you can use to embellish. Over here, these are chipboard embellishments. All I did was paint them with a little bit of black and silver paint to give it a metallic effect, and then layered. So we'll run through the album and then I'll go through some of the technical details. Okay, then that's the next page. So just with the layering, all backgrounds that were created, and all just somehow all work together, a mismatch of stuff, and it just works. And then there's this one. I've added a little tag here, butterfly, another little tab. I wanted, because I liked the background of this paper and I really didn't want to cover it up, I decided to, instead of putting a full photo mat in, that I put the photo mat in on a washi tape hinge basically. So when you do this, just remember that washi tape will come off, so just give it a little bit of extra tape, the piece of washi tape that attaches to the paper. Once my photo is inside on here, I will then stick that down and add the little title. Then it pages over again. I've left you with a little 1/2 centimeter gusset over here so that we can fill up this pocket with some more photo mats, photo inserts, whatever you feel like adding there. I will probably add a little journal with some journaling about what's going on in the little mini album. Okay. So I've opted to do the cascading pages. So you'll see here is page 1, there is page 2, page 3, and page 4. I like the effect that it gets. It's quite challenging to scrap this way because you have to think further into the project. So you need to make sure that whatever you put on doesn't cover and stick out. So it would have looked funny if this embellishment covered up, let me use this, if it had gone in and you only saw that part sticking out. I've made sure that the envelope covers the photo so that you don't have like an eye of a face sticking out and things like that. So you've got to do a little bit of thinking. I also wanted to scrap on the edge of the page instead of just on a full page like this. I think it's unique. It adds a little bit of interest to the album, and it was a good challenge, and it is fun to do. However, if you are not into this grungy industrial type look, you can take that exact album and make it your own. For this one, I'm using black as my background instead of the craft, and I haven't stuck my little album in yet. I prefer to be able to work with it before I stick it down, so I don't have to move the whole cover around with it. So the same concept, there's the little envelope that folds open and will open up the first page. So I've embellished it almost exactly the same as in the first album, just changed a few things to make it work a little better for this one. I also haven't put in as much stuff, and I've kept it to using only pattern paper and paper embellishments with a little bit of painting coming through. and then that goes over to that one. I haven't finished with entirely with the album, but you can see that again I've opted to scrap on the edge of the page, and there's my little goodie stuck in there. So there's the washi tape hinge, and I'll be adding that in a little bit later. Okay, and then I'll finish it up probably during the course of tomorrow. But that just gives you an idea that if this one doesn't appeal to you, take the concept and make it your own. Right, we'll be back with construction of the album. Right, ladies, you will have received a set of instructions. In these instructions tells you exactly how to what to cut out for this project, how to score it, and where to apply your tape. Okay, let's get started. You will need pieces A and B. We're going to make the cover first, right? You will have already cut it out, and I have asked you to score 2.5 centimeters around the sides, and then you've scored in at 11.5 centimeters and 12.5 centimeters on this one, and on this one you would have scored at 2.5, 8.5, 9.5. Okay. Because we're not going to be covering a piece of cardboard, we still need to be we're going to just have a soft cover, so we're just going to use the paper as our cover, and you would still need the corners to be nice and neat. The easiest way for me to explain that, to be able to get you to do that, because now you obviously can't use your mitering tool because it needs to hook onto something. You need to fold your corner over so that the score line on this side matches there. So I've drawn a line. This score line picks up with the score line over there. So if you can do that, if you get that folded over and burnish that down really well, I'll take my pencil, you will get a line. It'll create a line. That is the line you need to cut along. You want to cut slightly away from the corner, so don't cut the corner off. So when we fold this over later, when we make, you get a nice neat corner like that. Okay, right, so I didn't tell you in your instructions where to apply the tape on this. The tape will be applied all the way around the edges of the cover, and you will apply the tape on the bumpy side. Okay, so remember, when you score, you create a valley and a hill, so the dented side and a bumpy side. I want the tape on the bumpy side. You will also then need to measure from this score line 8.5 centimeters and draw a line, and that's where you will apply some tape along that line, because that's where we're going to join. Oops, I can get it all the way down. I'll take it now. This is where we're going to join the two together. Okay, so you apply your tape and you want to burnish it on really, really well. Remove the tape backing. Doesn't want to work with me now. Okay, once you've applied your tape, you need to burnish the tape on really, really well, and then remove your tape backing. Remove the tape backing. And you're going to get this piece A to attach piece A to piece B. Try and get your score lines to meet, and then you can burnish that on. Right, you can remove your tape backing at the top and attach, and do the same on this side. I like to work from top to bottom, left to right. You need to find what works for you. Right, once you've removed the tape backing, you are going to fold it over and burnish. You'll do the same on the other side. Fold it over and burnish. Let's double check that these have been burnished before we stick them. Right. And then we're going to, on the other score lines, before we stick the sides, fold them over and burnish on those score lines. Do the same on the next one. Just help it along gently. Fold it over. And the same on the other side. And then the other one. Burnish that on. Right, we can then attach this side. Give that a good burnish. Other side. Over. Give that a good burnish. Right. And there we have the cover. I suggest you have a few paper clips on hand that we can just train our paper to the way we want it to fold. So you add paper clip to the top and bottom, and oops, you can put that aside while we work on the album itself. Right. I would have asked you to cut and score all the pages for the album already. That's the instructions. But in case you don't have a paper trimmer with a scoring tool or a scoring board, but you do have a paper trimmer, if you can find a little embossing tool like this, if you put your paper in, so I've asked you to score at 6 centimeters. Put it in at 6, use your embossing tool and just lightly pull it down. It will give you the embossing line you need to follow. You will apply some tape on the dented side because it's caused there, and then we'll just fold it over like that. Okay, I have already pre-cut and taped all my pages for today. Right. So I've asked you to apply tape to the dented side. You will need some scissors, and we're just going to taper the edges, the corners. I like to taper, work from the score line, cut from the score line away. It's not a deep cut, so it's not cut in like that. It's just a little piece that you're going to cut off. It's just in case the paper isn't cut 100% straight, and then it doesn't, when you stick them down, you don't see the little corners sticking out. Okay, from the score line away, from the score line away. Right. Okay. Now that that's all done, we need to burnish on all those score lines. So those become our fold lines. There we go. And on piece F, I asked you to score in 2 places so that we have a little gusset. So you need to burnish on the first score line, and you need to burnish on the second score line. Your tape that you've added, also make sure that it's on really, really well. It is beneficial just to give it that extra little bit of burnishing so that you know it's on, and that any little bumps or wrinkles that may have been created when applying are taken out. Okay. Right, those are your pages. You're going to need piece F. I want you to tuck the little, no, yeah, tuck it in so that you have a nice straight edge. Make sure that it's, and we are going to apply piece C to piece F on the edge like that. Okay, I've asked you to, you'll remove the tape backing of piece C. I find it easier to work with it folded in, because that way you are not tempted to go over the score line. So with it folded, the hinge folded in, you are going to apply piece C to piece F. Check that it's nice and straight and that it's not over the score line. Good. Burnish that on. We're then going to attach piece D underneath piece C. Remove your tape backing. You're going to apply this piece slightly away from that score line, not on, it's like a mil away from the score line. And you want your pages to line up, the top and the bottom. You can see that it's going to close, it's going to move easily, and then burnish. And then lastly, we're going to attach piece E in exactly the same way to there. So remove your tape backing, attach piece E slightly away from that score line. Make sure it lines up with the top and the bottom. Make sure that your pages are going to be able to close and that they will page easily. Yes. Burnish. Right. Okay, they will flare like that, but as we add our embellishments and add some weight, everything will settle down. But in the meantime, we can just add a paper clip to train the paper to go fold in the direction that we want it to, like that. We'll keep it flat. Now, I would normally embellish everything before I attach it, but for the purposes of this workshop and this video, I'm going to attach. So once you've decorated everything, and before you stick your background page on here, you will attach your, you're going to attach this to here. Okay, so again, we're going to remove the tape backing. Let the gusset is disengaged, so it's laying flat. And you're going to attach, center it, top and bottom, and slightly away from that score line. So we've had lots of practice now. Make sure that it's centered top and bottom if you're happy. Attach that down and burnish. And you can then engage the gusset. I've done it this way so that it is nice and neat. Even this part is neat. If we had stuck it down from the back, gone from this, put this one first, this one on top and that one, we would have had 3 little lines here. I think in my album when I did it, that's exactly what happened. Do you see? You get all this happening. Whereas always the second time round is always good. It gives you a nice neat spine. And then that closes up like that. So this is, like I said, a cascading. There's your page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. Once you've got your pattern paper in here, you can add your pocket and all that. Okay. Again, we'll just attach some paper clips to keep it from flapping all over the place. Close it up. And your album is ready to be embellished. Thank you for watching.